news comes first. This is WECT News at 11.
And good evening, everyone. We thank you so much for staying up late with us tonight. I'm John Evans.
And I'm Daniela Henke. We're learning more tonight about why a community college president called a meeting to talk about possibly removing one of the board's members.
Sources say the meeting Wednesday will center around Cape Fear Community College trustee Ray Funderburk. We're now hearing from Funderburk's attorney, who was talking about the reasons behind an effort to have him removed from that board. WECT's Cassie Simmons sat down with attorney Gary Shipman this afternoon. Now, Cassie, the attorney says there are allegations that Funderburk pressured a teacher to change a student's grade.
That's right, John. But Shipman says there is no proof Funderburk did what is being alleged. He says a letter from the teacher does not name Funderburk, and there are no witnesses expected to back up the claims. Shipman says this is nothing more than, quote, a witch hunt. Attorney Gary Shipman says he was shocked when reading through what he describes as baseless allegations against Ray Funderburk.
Again, this is a witch hunt, and we know who it's led by.
The CFCC Board of Trustees is meeting Wednesday as allegations threaten Funderburk's seat.
He was confronted with the allegations that in February 1st, that he met with an instructor and he allegedly attempted to persuade an instructor to change a grade.
That teacher wrote a letter obtained by our media partner WHQR expressing concerns after being approached by parents, coaches, and a trustee member about the matter, though the teacher never names the trustee involved.
Where's the beef? If that letter was intended to make clear that Ray Funderburk tried to get this instructor instead of allegedly the coach or other members of the Cape Fear community, why didn't the letter say that? Because he didn't do it.
In emails between Shipman and the college's attorney, it's revealed that Funderburk is also accused of making, quote, statements placing CFCC in disrepute, end quote, when he questioned why the media wasn't asked to attend a Black History Month event.
The unnamed staff people who were allegedly bothered by Ray's comments that he wished the media was present, where are they to express that they think that his comments were intended to place Cape Fear Community College in disrepute?
The allegations come just 9 months after the New Hanover County School Board appointed Funderburk to the CFCC board. During that time, Funderburk has been critical about several issues.
He questioned why it is that we're giving Jim Morton a raise when he questioned the process for evaluating Jim Morton for this year and suggested that there be a survey. He was shot down on that.
That's why Shipman believes his client is being retaliated against and calls for other trustees to, quote, do what's right.
What I hope this will do is light a fire under certain members of the Board of Trustees that I know to be good people, and that they will not sit back and let this happen because they know that if they do, they're next.
I reached out to CFCC's communications office for comment on the matter, but have not heard back. Shipman says Funderburk never asked the teacher involved to change the student's grade, though Funderburk admits he did talk to the dean to try to better understand the dual enrollment program that student is enrolled in. Now, Shipman also says that because CFCC is on spring break, neither the dean nor the teacher involved in this dispute will be at tomorrow's meeting to allow for a proper investigation. John?
And of course, Cassie will have a crew at that meeting and follow any decision made by the trustees. Thanks.